Doing the album helped me kind of like realize I had to stop drinking. And
Wow.
so yeah, I quit like I think 2-3 months after we turned it in.
Amazing.
And I've been like 4 months without any alcohol.
Hi, I'm Cordelia for NME. Today we're here in London with Cuco for the latest in NME's In Conversation video series. So Cuco, welcome to London.
Thanks for having me.
How does it feel being here?
It's cool. I'm happy to be back in Europe. I haven't been in Europe. Well, I mean, I was here last month in Europe. Not here, but like in Europe, in Spain, playing Primavera Sound. And that was sick.
So we're catching you in London today, but you've been around the world a lot recently. You played Coachella, you were in Barcelona for Primavera Sound recently, and you're soon going to be touring the States with your new album. So what is it like playing these huge festivals and being back on big stages after a few years?
Nah, it's crazy because it had been, 2 years since like the whole pandemic and everything. So I think the first show I played, really played coming back, was in LA in November. And it was sick. It was sold out at the Shrine, and it was just amazing being back on the stage and just with like new production, new team, everything like on the creative side and like on the logistics side was and has been just getting better with time as it's going. And playing Coachella was crazy. It was crazy to be back on the festival stage, and then went to San Diego. And it's exciting to be back on the road because being on the road was kind of like, it was a lot. But now I'm like super excited to be back because of the team, the way it is now. It's like amazing, and they've made it like really enjoyable to be doing everything that I'm doing.
That's amazing. And how are you feeling about to begin a whole new round of headlining shows for your new album?
It's crazy. It's sick to see people be excited and like get their tickets and yeah, I'm stoked.
So this new album, Fantasy Gateway, it's out very soon. Tell me about the album, about how it sounds, about this concept of the Fantasy Gateway and this world that you're building on it.
Essentially the sounds is still kind of like all over the place the way Para Mi was, but in a very but a very cohesive way, where I'm still exploring sounds but still staying true to like what I've always made. But yeah, it's like at another level where I work with Manu Lara, Julian Bernal, and Andres Rebellon to make this album. And it's the first time I've let like producers I've like trusted like somebody else to take my work.
Because you came up like very much DIY, like doing it yourself.
Yeah, so it was sick to just watch them do that. And then on the other hand, I'm like now just writing, and I brought it like, I definitely still like, played instruments and everything like throughout the album, but they took the production to like a whole nother level. With that, I was able to conceptualize and really create the world and the environment for the album. And the Fantasy Gateway is just this kind of like alternate dimension where I made the dream world and like the purgatory kind of be like in the same realm. It's kind of like this perfect world, but making it still kind of like eerie, but very nice and dreamy, melancholic, euphoric. But yeah, just this way like where I could kind of tackle a lot of issues I've had like in my own head and kind of like therapeutically just write about it.
It's interesting you mentioned this eerie element, because that is like a sonic element that you capture really well as far back as Para Mi and also on this album. Was that something that you kind of tonally wanted to keep the same, or some aspects of Para Mi that you wanted to bring into now?
Yeah, definitely, because whenever I hear a song, it makes me feel like I'm trying to reminisce on something that's like even never happened, or like those type of melodies that feel like I'm dreaming. I want to be able to do that for other people.
Yeah,
and I want my music to definitely make people feel like they can just kind of escape reality and to the Fantasy Gateway.
So I heard you guys went out to Mexico City and spent a lot of time there actually putting this together. What was the atmosphere out there? What was it like actually doing it out there where there's like such a relationship to your dad and your heritage?
It was sick. Like, I think we made up our mind that we were gonna go to Mexico City in like November to finish up the album. It was just kind of this chemistry that started working with Manu Lara, who pretty much like produced the album, and alongside Andres and Julian, that like Andres helped like insanely with the vocal tracking too, and like the vocal production that made it sound crisp. And the chemistry that me and Manu had to like to make songs, to switch around and do like a bunch of different styles with the music, it all just like clicked. And Julian just being a really great like instrumentalist, and every time like we had an idea, he just knew how to like translate it over, whether it's guitar, keys, or anything like that. And going to Mexico was just sick, because the studio that we were at, we were like pretty much living in the studio. It was like a house that had, then the second house right next to it that had the studio.
Oh, awesome.
And
like a residence.
Yeah. And it was sick. We were just there, and yeah, I mean, my dad's from Mexico City, and my mom's from Puebla, and Puebla isn't that far from Mexico City. It was just cool to be there and just not be in the same environment I'm just always used to being in LA.
Mm-hmm. And do you think it influences, like, can you hear that on the album, at least when you listen back, like
you could definitely hear like there's a difference in like, there's like a growth in like the production and like what it sounds like. Yeah, there's like definitely like a lot of Mexican music roots, like whether it's like very subtly hidden or just straight up in your face.
So let's talk about some of these tracks now. The intro, first of all, you're like an intro guy on your albums, it sounds like, because on Para Mi you had that insane intro. And this one on this album is really different. It's kind of like this corporation guy saying welcome and welcome to the Fantasy Gateway. Like, do you like opening your albums in this kind of like guided way?
Yeah, I definitely, I like I said, like I like concepts, and I like feeling like I'm about to go into a journey when I listen to like albums. That's when I think about like Lonerism or Dark Side of the Moon, like the way those albums just flow into each other.
Yeah.
It's funny, the person that's speaking is actually the guy that mixed the album.
Really?
Yeah, Anthony. He's
got a good like corporate voice.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's not his first time like doing a voiceovers.
Wow.
We were like, yo, bro, like you're so good at this. Like, what? And it's like, yeah, it's like I've done it before.
And there's that eerie feeling like that you wanted.
Yeah, it's like going into, it's like this corporation it's gonna take you into the Fantasy Gateway, and like kind of like how Futurama, there's the cryo company that like freezes him in time. Yeah.
Amazing. And let's talk about Caution, which is like the music video for that was so trippy, so cool. But the lyrics are quite internal, and they're quite like reflective about wanting to deal with your problems on your own and not really bring them to other people.
Yeah.
And that seems to be a theme that you explore in a couple of the other songs too. Tell me about how you put that into the music and what you've been learning about that.
I just like keeping it super real with myself in that song, and I think with other songs it's kind of like nitpicking little things that like, whether it's like something I'm insecure about, something I gotta work on, something I gotta realize here and there to kind of just not be so bottled up. It's kind of how it starts with Caution, like just kind of like trying to open up, but then like keeping your problems to yourself because you don't want it affecting other people, but then you kind of keep it to yourself and it still ends up affecting other people. And then the whole journey is kind of like opening up in like different sections of like my brain, and like and just speaking about different things and in the context of this like second world.
For sure. And what was it like afterwards when you had turned them into songs, and do you feel like you've worked through some of that? Or
yeah, I definitely feel like working on the album made me like open my eyes a lot about a lot of different things. Like actually like doing the album helped me kind of like realize I had to stop drinking. And so yeah, I quit like I think 2-3 months after we turned it in.
Amazing.
And I've been like 4 months without any alcohol.
Wow, insane.
Yeah, and I realized this actually like 2-3 weeks ago. Like I was like, damn, like actually doing the album like made me realize that.
What was it about doing the album that got you there?
Actually, like in the song Paraphonic, like there's like a lyric where it's like, I won't be surprised when it all starts crashing down. Like I don't know, like it's just this thing like where I would use kind of like I would use alcohol to like kind of get away from a lot of things, and kind of like just sitting around being like, yeah, like just kind of waiting for like things to just go wrong, because that's how I always go about my thought process. But it's just like, nah, like I could definitely like switch things around and make my life like better by just taking care of myself.
Amazing. That's such cool way to access your own like growth.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I've heard also that you've been on this journey towards like feeling better and being more like in control. And as part of that, I saw that you've been climbing, which is awesome. What's that been like? That's such a cool thing to have taken up.
Nah, it was cool. Actually, I think it was like the same month that I had dropped the drinking. My friend Brick, he posted like on a story that he was climbing, and I had already been wanting to do it for like the last 2-3 years. I had like talked to my trainer about it, and I saw him like, yo, next time you go, like is it cool like if I roll through? And he just told me like, yeah, for sure. And then he hit me up and told me like, yo, pull up here and like, and you know, see if you like it. And yeah, literally that day I bought like my pair of climbing shoes and I got the membership for the gym, and it's like it's the best. Like I'm super addicted to it, and it was crazy to be able to kind of transfer over that like addictive personality from like substance abuse.
Yeah.
To
Rocks.
Yeah, and then it's crazy because it used to be really hard for me to want to go work out and hit the gym, but that was kind of like the one thing that kind of created the obsession to just work out and do things actively, and it was through like rock climbing. But then that made me like really want to get better at like my physical strength, so then I started going to the gym more obsessively and like really focused with my trainer. And then like if I didn't do anything active throughout the day, then I have to go skate or go run. And like if I skate like 6-7 miles, and if I run, I have to run like at least like 3 or 4 miles. Like
Wow.
it definitely helped to like to do the climbing, because then it just was this like domino effect of a bunch of other activities.
Guess so, yeah. Especially because it's like such an upper body workout. You're probably like, damn, I need to train this.
Nah,
that's like the
that
hard
shit kills
thing.
me.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
hard thing to like start with if you're, because I can't make it up
Like
like any layers.
nah, that's the thing. Like you like get challenged, so then you're like, I have to come back and I have to get this, because if I don't, like in my head I'm just like, if I don't get this, like I'm just like fucking up.
Yeah. Fair enough. So back to the album, I'd love to talk about some of the collaborations on this. You've always been like a really collaborative artist throughout your last couple of years of putting songs out. And this album has a ton of really cool features and collaborations. So maybe we could start talking about Sitting in the Corner. How did you get or decide to unite Kacey Musgraves and Adrielle together?
So I started working on this song in Nashville with this producer. His name is Ian Fitchick, and we're just kind of like making like a bunch of different songs, ideas. But that week, I remember just being like super sick. Like I like tested a bunch of times negative for like COVID and stuff, and I just ended up just having like a cold. And like allergies just hitting me. Like the temperature changes just always like mess me up. So it was a pretty like inactive week. But then, and we just got a bunch of like rough drafts, and then the last day, we got the draft for Sitting in the Corner. Took it to Mexico, worked with Manu, and he had this idea of like, yo, we should make something like psychedelic but like Mexican. And then we started working. We brought in some dudes to play guitarrón and vihuela. So the bass in the song, there's no bass. Like it's a guitarrón like, the whole time. When we got that down, we were like, yo, it'd be sick to have like Adrielle on the song. Like it would be tight. And then we got in contact. He sent over the verse. It was like amazing. We retracked the vocals in Malibu. Ian heard the song. He was like, yo, this is fire. I got to dip. I got to go to a show. And he went to a show. It was to watch Kacey. And he was talking about like, yeah, like I was in Malibu working with Cuco. And she was like, oh, cool, sick. And then like later on I hit some like, yo, like, would Cuco be down to work? Then he was like, what what do you like, to what degree like his music, your music? And like, obviously, like an artist, sometimes like they're not gonna reply because just so busy sometimes. Yeah. So, I think like what happened, she didn't respond. So then, Ian was just like, he sent over the song. He's like, yo, check this out. Yeah. And then I guess after that is when he hit us, and he was like, yo, Kacey wants to hop on the song. And we're like, what? Like that's sick. Wow. And then that like same week she sent over like the vocals, and it was just like, yo, this song is, and it all made sense. Like it none of it like was forced, like felt like it was like we were trying anything that was too out of reach. It was like, yo, this all makes like perfect sense.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, you mentioned you wanted the song to be psychedelic but Mexican, and you've kind of found the two totems of those genres. Yeah. And like Kacey is also quite into psychedelics herself, and this album is very inspired by psychedelic experiences.
Yeah.
So was that like a point in common, a point of connection, or?
Yeah, I think one thing is just how creative every individual was. Like Kacey, I feel like her music's just so, like every song I've heard just has like a lot of different elements, and same with Adriel, like he's also very explorative. Like, so getting this song together was just like, it was just a way to kind of bring those worlds without, like it all happened. It got mad, like it got.
Yeah.
Like I feel like really felt like the universe kind of just put this like, yo, like this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I feel very lucky that like,
You brought it together.
yeah, well, I mean, I feel like, yeah, lucky just in general that it's even like part of like my project. Because like it's just, I don't know, I feel like it could have been an idea sparked by anybody else at any other time in the world, and like and it was just, we just happened to put it together. And
For sure. Greatest anime crossover ever.
yeah.
So on the subject of people like Adriel, you have a lot of collaborations with people in the Latino community. Like there's Decir Adios on the album, but you also worked with Boy Pablo recently. What's it like, working with people in this community, and also, really seamlessly always incorporating Spanish and English into your tracks?
Yeah. It's great. I mean, also the other thing is like they're just all really good people. Like everybody that I've worked with, like I wouldn't want to work with people that I feel like are just like not kind of in the same headspace as me, and just like I think everybody is just really happy to work, collaborate. Everybody's very humble, very excited, and it's been great. And working with like a lot of like the upcoming like Latino artists, and like just being able to grow with each other, it's sick, because like I remember listening to Boy Pablo too, like in 2017.
Yeah, he was really big on that one song, was like viral.
But like I love his music. Like I'm genuinely like a fan of his music, and being able to work with Nico is like, he's just such a great guy, and when we made La Novela, it was just, it's probably one of my favorite songs that I've been a part of to date. And my album is, all the songs on that album is, I'm so lucky to be a part of it, because it's not just my album. It feels like it's, when I think of the album, I think of the team, and it's our album, because I couldn't have done that album without all the people that I worked with. So yeah, I mean, it's just cool. It's something to be proud of, and something to be working with, like with a diversity of people, and being able to kind of just all come up and represent each other.
For sure. And it feels like with every new project, your like musical world expands more and more to like draw more people in.
Yeah.
Like you've begun a couple years ago with like Claro, which was also like, I guess, in that bedroom pop genre, and then you expanded to include a lot of different up and coming artists in the Latino community, and now with Kacey Musgraves, it just feels like it's all getting wider and wider, but all connected.
Yeah, I'm definitely, and the Fantasy Gate was like the intro into this world I'm creating. Like I'm gonna keep it going, because there's a whole storyline to it, and it's just about keeping it going and see who else we bring into this gateway.
For sure. Well, thank you very much for your time, Cuco. Very happy to have you in London, and good luck with the rest of your tour.
Appreciate that. Oh, yeah.